name is Ethan Cole. I'm 37, a front desk manager in Manhattan, and for 6 holidays straight, my family said there was no room for my kids. Tonight I hold keys to a penthouse that smells like fresh paint and basil. Downstairs, winter air bites as the lobby bell dings. I text one photo to the family thread. Ping. We're moving in for a while, Sophie writes. I exhale and press the other button in me. This isn't a hotel. What they don't know is the policy changed. Before I continue, tell me where you're watching from, and hit like and subscribe if you've ever been betrayed by your own family. Because this story mine isn't about shouting matches or slammed doors. It's about how silence can burn hotter than fire, and how saying one calm no can echo louder than every yes you've ever given. When I tell people I work in hospitality, they think I deal with luggage and late checkouts. What I really handle are moods, people's chaos wrapped in polite smiles. It started long before I ever put on a suit. I grew up in a 2-story house in suburban Connecticut, where the walls carried secrets like wallpaper glue. My mother, Martha, was the queen of fairness in public and the goddess of favoritism in private. She used words like balance and family first, but they always tilted toward my sister, Sophie. I used to think gravity just liked her better. Thanksgiving, 1999. I was 11. The house smelled like cinnamon and turkey fat. Mom handed Sophie a crystal bowl of mashed potatoes and told her, "Careful, sweetheart. You're my helper." She handed me the trash bag. Dad looked up from carving the turkey, nodded like a judge approving a sentence. When Sophie spilled gravy on the floor, Mom laughed. When I dropped a fork, she sighed. "Ethan, slow down. You're too tense." That word tense followed me through life like a last name. At school, I learned to solve tension by fixing things. I was the kid teachers asked to erase the board, the one friends came to when their projects broke. Repairing became affection. I didn't know it then, but that habit would make me both dependable and invisible. When I turned 16, I got a job at the diner off Route 7. Sticky floors, endless coffee refills, jukebox lights flickering over pie domes. Every paycheck went into an envelope labeled house repairs. Mom said the roof leaked. I handed her the envelope one night while Sophie twirled a new bracelet from her boyfriend. A month later, the roof was fixed, and the contractor's invoice was framed on the fridge under a note. Paid by Sophie, our angel. I remember staring at my own handwriting on the envelope in the trash. I didn't ask. Asking made you the problem. The pattern calcified. Sophie's laughter was music. My silence was noise. She got the master bedroom when Dad built the extension "Girls Need More Privacy." I got the attic, slanted ceiling and all. In winter, the wind hissed through the vents like it was gossiping about me. Fast forward, college. I commuted, worked nights, studied hospitality management. Mom bragged about Sophie's marketing degree to everyone, even the mailman. When I graduated, she sent a group text, "Proud of both my kids." Sophie replied with 10 emojis. I replied, "Thanks." She hearted her own message. The first time I brought Grace home, she noticed it immediately. We were 25, engaged, full of the kind of optimism that doesn't yet know better. Mom hugged her tight, said, "You're marrying the steady one." Then turned to Sophie. "Don't worry, honey. Your time will come." Grace squeezed my hand under the table. Later she whispered, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah." She meant well. But even then I felt that familiar tightening in my throat, the price of being the calm one. When our son Noah was born, things briefly felt level. Mom knitted him a blanket. Dad showed up with a toolbox like love could be hammered into furniture. But the next holiday brought the old equation back. Thanksgiving, year 3, I drove 2 hours through sleet with a baby seat in the back and a casserole Grace made at 5 a.m. Sophie arrived 10 minutes before us with her new golden retriever, Teddy. Mom opened the door, arms wide for Sophie, hands full of dog treats. "Ethan, Grace, just stay on the porch a second." Teddy's nervous around noise. We waited while laughter filled the living room. Through the window, I saw 2 chairs set at the table, both marked with little name cards, Sophie and Teddy. Grace whispered, "Did they just seat the dog?" I smiled like customer service. "Maybe it's temporary." It wasn't. We ate on the porch swing, our plates balanced on knees, pretending the cold was refreshing. Every holiday repeated the ritual. Each time I adjusted came earlier, left sooner, told myself logistics were complicated. "They don't mean it," I'd say. But every, maybe next year, carved a small hollow inside me. Then came Ella, our second child. The Christmas she was born, Sophie launched her family-first vlog. She asked to film in Mom's kitchen, better lighting, she said. By the time we arrived, ring lights and tripods had turned the place into a movie set. I remember holding Ella, only 2 months old, while Sophie stirred soup in slow motion for her followers. Mom whispered, "Don't get in the background, Ethan. You'll distract the shot." So I took my daughter to the garage, where the old fridge hummed like sympathy. I fed her there, sitting on a folding chair between boxes labeled Sophie's decor. Later that night, Sophie posted the video, "Our Cozy Family Christmas." In the corner of one frame, you could barely see my hand rocking the baby carrier, half lit by a string of fairy lights. The comments said, "Such a perfect family." I almost laughed. Years blurred. Work, diapers, bills, compromise. Grace and I eventually split. No screaming, no betrayal, just exhaustion. We promised to co-parent with respect. And we did. But every exchange with my family reminded me how easily respect could vanish when bloodlines crossed expectations. Mom once said, "You're reliable, Ethan." She meant it as a compliment, but it landed like a doorstop, something you use until it breaks. I poured myself into the hotel. Polished brass, polished smiles. Guests complained about broken air conditioning or late checkouts. I apologized with my eyes before my mouth moved. I learned tone is a currency. You can buy peace with it if you spend it right. Vanessa, my boss, used to say, "Kindness without structure turns to resentment." I wrote it on a post-it and stuck it to my locker. At the time, I thought it only applied to guests. The flashpoint built slowly. Each family text chipped at the surface. "Sophie, can you cover the twins' robotics kit? I'll pay you back Friday." "Martha, don't stress your sister right now. She's juggling so much." "Dad, family helps, son." "Me. Of course." And then, midnight alone, the spreadsheet called Sophie Loan, XLSX. I closed it after 3 months because the numbers looked like self-betrayal. One night, Grace dropped off Noah and Ella. She glanced at me, same apartment in Queens, same couch dent, same man running on fumes. She said, "You ever think about moving closer to work?" I shrugged. Too expensive. Too expensive. But later that week, Vanessa called me into her office. Promotion, a raise, not much, but enough to nudge a dream off the ground. I started looking. Most listings were lies, dressed as homes, low ceilings, gray light, promises of cozy. Then I saw it. Top floor duplex, Brooklyn Heights, old bones polished new, 2 balconies, skylight slicing the room open. I stood in the center of that sunlight and felt something unclench inside me. I signed on a Tuesday, ate Chinese takeout on the floor, watched the city blink like it couldn't help it. That night, I took one picture, just the view, no people, and sent it to the family chat. Within seconds, "Mom, finally. Dad, proud of you, son. Sophie. Oh my God, we're moving in for a while." Her words glowed on the screen, casual as a mosquito bite. I stared, chopsticks frozen midair. Then I typed, slow and deliberate, "This isn't a hotel." Hit send. The knot that had lived in my chest for years loosened just a little, but enough to let air through. I didn't know it then, but that single message would divide my life cleanly in two, before boundaries and after. The morning after that text, I woke up to 17 missed calls. 6 from Mom, 5 from Sophie, the rest from numbers I didn't recognize, followers of her vlog maybe, asking if the family feud thing was real. She'd posted a story, a screenshot of my message with a caption, "Some people forget where they come from." At work that day, I smiled through guests, checking in for a bridal party. I offered champagne, folded towels into swans, and hid my phone in the drawer. My chest buzzed like static. Every time I passed a mirror, I practiced the expression that saved my career, empathy without invitation. Vanessa, my manager, caught my reflection once and said, "You look like you're apologizing for breathing." I laughed. "Comes with the job." She shook her head. "Policy doesn't kill kindness, Ethan. It protects it." At the time, I wrote that down in my notebook, not knowing it would become my survival plan. When I got home, the hallway smelled like new paint and dust, signs of a place being remade. I hung my suit jacket on the doorframe and noticed a delivery box at my feet. Return address, Harper household, my sister's last name. Inside candles, table runners, a handwritten note. "For Thanksgiving decor, see you soon." I laughed once, sharp. then folded the letter back into the box like it was radioactive. That night, I called Mom. "Hey," I started, neutral. Her tone came wrapped in honey and guilt. "Ethan, why would you text something so cold? Your sister thought you were joking." I wasn't. Well, it hurt her feelings. "She's trying to move in, Mom. She said temporary. You have space. She doesn't. It's my space." Pause. Then softer. Like a knife with velvet. "Don't start acting like money makes you better." I closed my eyes. "You taught me to share, remember?" "I did. I'm just finally sharing with my kids." She exhaled like prayer and hung up. That weekend, Grace brought Noah and Ella to see the new place. The elevator doors opened, and they gasped in stereo. "Whoa," Noah said, running to the window. "We can see the bridge." Ella spun in the sunlight. "It's like living in the sky." Grace smiled, half proud, half sad. "You did it, Ethan," I said. "We did okay. But what I meant was, we finally have air that belongs to us." That night we built IKEA furniture. The kids fought over the Allen key, spilled screws everywhere, laughed until they hiccuped. I thought, this is what full feels like. I didn't post it. Some moments earn their privacy. 2 days later, a notice appeared under my door. "Management has received multiple inquiries about additional tenants at Unit 5 Amperes. Please clarify occupancy." I went to the front desk. Luis, the doorman, looked uncomfortable. "Mr. Cole, your sister came by earlier," he said. "She told me she'd be living here part-time family arrangement." I felt my pulse flick. "Did you let her in?" "No, sir. Policy." He smiled faintly. "It's your building, not theirs." That single sentence, simple, factual, felt like someone handing me back a crown I didn't know I'd lost. The following weeks turned into emotional trench warfare. Mom sent care packages of passive aggression, casseroles labeled, "We know you're busy." Sophie texted invoices $89 for Mason's inhaler. "Thanks, big bro." When I didn't reply, she posted a quote, "The measure of family is generosity." At work, I learned new ways to say no. A guest once demanded an upgrade to the honeymoon suite, insisting she deserved it. I smiled, handed her a policy card, and said, "Deserve is emotional. Policy is structural." She blinked, then nodded. Power can be that quiet. One evening, around Halloween, I got home to find Sophie waiting outside the lobby, twins in matching costumes, dog in a pumpkin vest. "Trick or treat," she chirped. I stared. "You drove an hour for this?" "Family content, Ethan. Cute cousins reunite in the city, perfect engagement boost. You can't film here." She waved her phone. "Relax. You'll barely be in frame." I stepped between her and the door. "You're not getting in." Mason frowned. "Why not?" Before I could answer, Sophie cut in. "Because Daddy's being dramatic." I crouched to their level. "We'll go to the park this weekend, okay? Hot chocolate on me." They nodded, confused but trusting. Sophie's smile froze. Her eyes didn't. "Fine," she said. "Your loss." She left, the dog trailing behind, booties tapping the concrete like punctuation marks. Later, Mom texted, "I heard you turned the kids away. That's cruel." I typed, "No, that's clarity." Then deleted it. Sent nothing. Silence sometimes screams louder. By November, the tension had a pulse. I woke up to see Sophie tagging me in posts about family healing, quoting forgiveness gurus, while her followers commented, "Number pray for Ethan." Dad finally called. "Son, maybe let them stay till after the holidays. No harm done." "There's harm," I said. He sighed. "Family helps. Family also respects." He went quiet, like a man who'd run out of inherited phrases. Then came the email from Sophie's realtor. Subject: Proof of residence Harper application. Attached: a lease form listing current address. 5 Amperes, 62 Atlantic Avenue, my building, my apartment. My chest went cold. I forwarded it to myself, printed a copy, and stared until the ink blurred. That night, I didn't sleep. I walked the apartment barefoot, touching walls, trying to remind myself this was mine. For years, I'd been the background character in other people's homes. Now I had walls that echoed my footsteps and my family was trying to annex them. I called Grace at midnight. "Sorry to wake you," I said. "I just needed to hear a sane voice. What happened?" "They used my address on a lease." A pause, then the sound of her breathing through a laugh she didn't mean. "Of course they did. What do I do?" Same thing you do at the hotel, she said. Enforce the policy. Kindly, she was right. I'd spent my career teaching guests boundaries with a smile. It was time to promote myself to my own life. A week later, I drafted an email to my mother and sister. Subject: Thanksgiving plans. It read, I won't be hosting this year. Please don't show up unannounced. The building has strict guest regulations. Hope you both enjoy your holiday. Hit send. Felt something click inside like a lock sliding into place after years of being stuck. Mom replied within minutes. We'll bring turkey. You just make space. Sophie added. The twins already told their school they're spending it in Brooklyn. Don't ruin their excitement. I didn't answer. That Friday, I told Luis to expect creative guests. He chuckled. We'll stick to policy. When I walked back upstairs, the city lights trembled through the window, reflections shifting like memory. Noah was building Lego towers on the floor, Ella humming beside him. They didn't ask about Grandma or Aunt Sophie. They just laughed when a tower fell and started over. Watching them, I realized something. Kids don't crave perfection. They crave presence. For the first time, my presence wasn't divided between peacekeeping and pretending. I made hot cocoa. The air smelled like sugar and resolve. When Noah asked, Will Grandma visit? I said, Not this year. Why? Because sometimes love needs rules. He thought about that, then nodded slowly. Like bedtime. Exactly. Outside, the city blinked steady and indifferent. Inside, for once, everything stayed still. The calm before the next storm. But this time, I had an umbrella of my own making. The week before Thanksgiving, the world at the hotel glowed gold and polished. I smiled through tourists complaining about room views and honeymooners wanting upgrades. Absolutely, I'd say. Let's see what I can do. My voice, smooth as linen. Inside, I was counting how many people in my life had turned helpfulness into currency. It started small again, always small. Mom texted, Don't forget the cranberry sauce recipe Sophie loves. You always make it better. I stared at it. A compliment camouflaged as a command. I typed, Not cooking this year. Then deleted it. I sent a thumbs up emoji instead. Silence felt safer than truth. The next morning, I found another delivery box at my door. This one read, Harper Family Productions LLC. Inside was a ring light and a tripod. My stomach went tight. Attached note. Lighting for Thanksgiving vlog at yours. Don't worry, we'll clean up after. I called Sophie. Hey, I said, tone flat. Oh, good, you got the package. The kids are so excited. Sophie, I said, I'm not hosting. You don't have to host. I'll do everything. You just exist. I'm not your set piece. She laughed, light and sharp. Ethan, it's content. People love seeing families reunite. I'm not a prop for your forgiveness arc. Click. She hung up. At work, Vanessa noticed my jaw locked tight. Family? She asked. Always, I said. She smirked. Remember, policy protects kindness. I nodded, but her words echoed like an alarm. That night I sent a group text. Do not come. Not for filming, not for dinner. Please respect this boundary. Mom replied within 30 seconds. We'll bring turkey. Stop being dramatic. Sophie, relax. It's just family. Dad, finally. Let them come, son. It's one night. Me, it's one boundary. I thought that would end it. I underestimated entitlement stamina. Saturday morning, I went downstairs to pick up coffee. Luis nodded at me, lowering his voice. Mr. Cole, your family was here again. Said they're measuring for decorations. I froze. You didn't let them up? Of course not. Policy. He smiled like a co-conspirator. Thanks, I said. He shrugged. Families test locks more than thieves. Upstairs, my phone buzzed. Sophie again. You're seriously gonna make us eat in a hotel? I replied. You're welcome to book a suite. I can get you a discount. She answered with a voice note, her favorite tool of manipulation. Her voice soft, like she was crying. I just don't understand, Ethan. You know how hard it's been since Mark died. You know the twins need stability. I closed my eyes. You have stability, I whispered to no one. You just want mine too. Sunday morning, I found out the next escalation. Mom had posted a family poll on Facebook. Where should we host Thanksgiving this year? Sophie's too cramped. Ethan's new place is perfect. Over 200 comments. Strangers voting on my home like it was a public hall. Grace texted me a screenshot with 3 words. You okay? I typed back, mostly disappointed, not surprised. That evening, Noah noticed me scrolling and frowning. Bad news? He asked. Just adult stuff. He nodded like he understood. Grandma drama again? I laughed despite myself. Something like that. He grinned. You can tell her no. You're the boss now. Sometimes kids see the blueprint before adults do. Tuesday, 2 days before Thanksgiving. Another message from Sophie. Don't freak out if we show up early. Parking's a nightmare. I texted back. If you show up, you won't get in. No response. The next morning, I came home from a night shift to find something taped to my door. A child's drawing. The twins' handwriting. Crayon hearts. We love you, Uncle E. Can't wait for turkey. Underneath, Sophie's scrawl. Don't make them sad. The manipulation had gone multi-generational. I peeled the paper off, smoothed it gently, and put it in a drawer. The kids didn't deserve the fallout. That night I couldn't sleep. I paced between the couch and the balcony, city lights pulsing like a heartbeat. I practiced lines under my breath. This isn't a hotel. I'm not the villain. I'm allowed to say no. Each one sounded stronger than the last. By morning, I'd decided. No more text wars. I'd meet whatever came next, standing, not typing. Wednesday morning smelled like cold metal and rain. I ironed my shirt for work, but my hands shook. The doorman's voice from yesterday echoed in my head. Families test locks more than thieves. He wasn't wrong. At 8 a.m., my phone buzzed. Mom again. Your sister's moving truck is packed. She says she'll only need a few days till her lease is finalized. I typed back. She used my address on her lease. Mom, that's fraud, not family. 3 dots appeared, then vanished. Then her reply. You're being cruel. I put the phone face down on the counter and left it there. Face like stone. At the hotel, I smiled through exhaustion, through the noise of a wedding group screaming over champagne. Vanessa passed by and whispered, Front desk calm, Ethan. Keep that tone for home. Home's where the tone dies, I muttered. She didn't hear me, or maybe she did. When my shift ended, it was already dark. I walked out into the wind, the kind that feels like it's trying to erase you. The city smelled of roasted chestnuts and taxi exhaust. For a second, I imagined driving straight to Queens, to Grace's quiet apartment, where the air didn't hum with family static. But no, I was done running sideways. I got home, double-checked the lock, and waited. 8:30 p.m. No sign. 9 p.m. Quiet. 9:15 buzzer rings. Louise called upstairs. Mr. Cole, your sister's here. She says you're expecting her. I inhaled through my teeth. I'm not. He hesitated. She's got kids with her. And a dog. Policy, I said. He chuckled softly. I figured. Downstairs, through the security camera, I saw her. Sophie in athleisure, hair perfect, twins half asleep in the back seat of a rented van, Teddy barking inside a carrier. She pressed the intercom button, voice honeyed and sharp. Ethan, open the door. It's freezing. I pressed the talk button. You shouldn't be here. It's 2 nights. The kids are exhausted, and like de Breitling rate. This isn't a hotel, Sophie. A pause. Then laughter. Brittle. God, you love that line, don't you? You sound corporate. Boundaries are corporate, I said. They come with contracts. She huffed. Mom said you'd pull this power trip. I'm not pulling anything. I'm holding what's mine. She went quiet long enough that I thought she'd left. Then bang. She shoved the door, testing it. Luis appeared on camera, calm as ever. Ma'am, building rules, residents only. Do you hear yourself? She snapped. We're family. Luis looked straight into the lens like he knew I was watching. Exactly. Which is why he's telling you no with love. That night, she posted a photo of the van on her social feed, captioned, Cold holidays hit hardest when hearts freeze first. Thousands of likes. I didn't scroll past the comments. I knew what they said. Thanksgiving morning arrived gray and restless. I woke to the smell of something metallic guilt, maybe. I brewed coffee, stared at the skyline, waited for silence to turn solid. It didn't. At 10 a.m., my phone lit up again. Mom, we're downstairs. Just 10 minutes. Let us bring the turkey up. Don't embarrass yourself. Embarrass myself. The irony burned. I slipped on a sweater and took the elevator down. Luis met me halfway. They brought pies, he said. And a film crew. My pulse spiked. You're kidding. No, sir. Tripod and everything. Of course. The family first vlog comeback special. Outside the glass doors, I saw them. Mom clutching a casserole like peace. Sophie adjusting a ring light. Kids bouncing around in matching flannel. The dog wore boots. Sophie spotted me and waved. Smile, big brother. Reunited for the holidays. I stepped forward. Calm voice loading like a weapon. Cameras off. She kept filming. Cameras off. Mom hissed. Don't make a scene. I'm preventing one. She tried to hand me the turkey pan, heavy and steaming. Just let us in, Ethan. The twins are starving. I crouched to their eye level. Hey guys, remember I promised hot chocolate at the park? Tomorrow. 11 o'clock. They nodded, uncertain but hopeful. Behind them, Sophie's smile cracked like glass. You're unbelievable. I stood up. I know. It's new. Mom's voice turned low, weaponized tenderness. You'll regret this when we stop showing up. I met her eyes. You stopped a long time ago. I just stopped pretending you hadn't. Luis opened the door halfway, leaned out. Everything okay here? Perfect, I said. Just confirming policy. Sophie grabbed her phone, muttering something about exposing the truth. I turned, walked back inside, pulse steady. Behind me, I heard Luis's voice, even and polite. Happy Thanksgiving, ma'am. The door clicked shut. The lock engaged. The silence afterward was so complete it felt like applause. Upstairs, Noah and Ella sat cross-legged on the floor, coloring. Who was at the door? Noah asked. Wrong address, I said. He grinned. Happens. And for the first time, I believed him. That night, we ate chicken instead of turkey, watched the parade replay on my phone, and laughed until midnight. Outside, the city howled with sirens and car horns. Inside, we could finally hear ourselves think. The next morning, the air in Brooklyn felt sharp enough to cut through glass. I woke to sunlight pouring over the floorboards, pale gold across Noah's Lego city. For one long moment, I let myself believe the war was over. Then my phone buzzed. Mom, don't worry, sweetheart. We'll handle the holiday our way. Attached was a link to Sophie's new vlog episode. The thumbnail showed my building's entrance. Luis blurred in the background, the caption glowing like gasoline. When family turns you away, my stomach dropped. I pressed play. There she was, in her perfect lighting. Mascara smudged just enough to look cinematic. She told the camera. We drove 2 hours to see my brother, and he said we weren't welcome. Some people forget that family isn't seasonal. The comments exploded across the screen. That's cruel. He'll regret it. You're better off, girl. I set the phone down and stared at it until my reflection blurred. Then I laughed, low and hollow. I'd spent a lifetime managing people's reactions. I wasn't about to start managing the internet's. At 11 a.m., I dressed, packed cocoa in thermoses, and took the kids to the park, our new tradition. The sky stretched white over the river, brittle but wide open. Noah raced ahead, Ella chasing behind, scarves flapping like flags. Their laughter rang clean in the cold air, washing the last residue of guilt out of me. When we got back, a folded note waited at my door. We'll talk this through tonight. Mom wants peace. 7 p.m. No signature. I didn't need one. At 7 sharp, the buzzer rang. Luis's voice came through the intercom. Mr. Cole, Miss Harper, and your parents are here again. They're filming. I closed my eyes. Of course they are. Do you want me to? No. Let me handle it. I stepped into the elevator, palms sweating despite the cold. Each floor down felt like descending through years of swallowed apologies. When the doors slid open, the lobby looked like a movie set. Ring light, tripod, Martha in her best coat, clutching a pie, Sophie adjusting the camera angle, her smile carved in porcelain, Dad off to the side, hands buried in his pockets, trying not to exist. I stood across from them, between the lobby's marble columns. Turn it off, I said. Sophie beamed. We just want closure. Say hi to the viewers, Ethan. This isn't a show. It's family, she corrected, stepping closer. And people deserve the truth. I met her eyes. The truth is you're trespassing. Mom gasped softly. Don't use that word with your sister. It's the right one. For a heartbeat. No one moved. Then Sophie pushed record. Okay, she said brightly. Here's what really happened. I took 2 steps forward. Calm, deliberate. I reached out and lowered the ring light stand until its glow flickered out. The camera tilted, framing nothing but marble floor. No cameras, I said. Not in my building. She pulled back. You can't control everything, Ethan. Watch me. My tone was low. Even the same one I used with drunk guests, refusing to hand over their keys. Mom's lips trembled. We just wanted a seat at your table. You had decades of seats, I said. You kept them full. Why are you doing this? Because I finally learned the cost of free space. The elevator dinged behind me. Luis stepped out quietly. His eyes flicked to the scene, then to me. You okay, Mr. Cole? I'm fine, I said, still facing them. He nodded once, like a silent witness. Remember policy. Mom's voice cracked. This isn't who you are. You never knew who I was, I said. You only knew what I could carry. Sophie grabbed the pie tin like a shield. So you're cutting us out? No, I said, stepping closer. I'm cutting myself free. For the first time, she dropped the act. Her shoulders sagged, eyes wet. You'll regret this. Maybe, I said. But at least the regret will be mine. She looked at Mom, then at Dad. Nobody spoke. The air in the lobby felt heavy, like weather before thunder. Finally, Dad murmured, Let's go. Mom shook her head, whispering something about forgiveness, but Sophie was already packing up the ring light. They turned to leave, but I wasn't finished. Sophie, I said. She stopped. Your twins are good kids. They deserve honesty. Don't teach them that family means ignoring no. Her throat worked. No words. She just nodded once. Barely. Then they were gone past the glass doors. Into the cold. Luis exhaled, breaking the silence. Happy Thanksgiving, sir. Yeah, I said. Happy policy enforcement. Back upstairs. Noah and Ella were watching cartoons, half asleep. I kissed the tops of their heads, then sat on the balcony with the city sprawled beneath me. The river shimmered, endless and indifferent. My hands were still shaking, but not from fear release. For the first time in my life, I hadn't fixed someone else's mess. I had held the line. I opened my laptop. The cursor blinked on a blank email. Subject line, going forward. I began to type. The cursor blinked like a small, patient metronome. I wrote the email as if drafting hotel policy, clear, unemotional, impossible to twist. Subject, going forward. Body, my apartment is not storage, a crash pad, or a film set. Visits are scheduled, short, and on my calendar. No pets, no surprises, no guilt trips disguised as love. If an event excludes my kids, I won't attend. Hospitality without policy becomes harm. I learned that at work. Now I apply it at home. I reread it twice, then pressed send. For the first time, silence felt like applause instead of punishment. The next few weeks became a test. Packages stopped coming, but guilt found new disguises. A stray Venmo request from Sophie. Forgot to cancel my old autopay. Can you cover $50? Ignored. A group text from Mom. A Bible verse about forgiveness, followed by a photo of the twins baking cookies. Unanswered. Each silence I kept was another lock, clicking into place. At the hotel, I felt lighter. I started teaching new trainees how to smile without surrender. Vanessa noticed. Whatever changed, she said. Keep it. I smiled. It's policy. At home, weekends turned into quiet magic. Noah built Lego towers across the living room. Ella taped drawings on the fridge, crooked but proud. We ordered pizza, spilled juice, left crumbs on the counter, and no one apologized for the mess. I hung a small sign inside a cabinet door. House rules. Beneath it, Ella added in crayon, We belong here. I left it that way. Then, one afternoon in January, an email from Sophie arrived. No drama, no hashtags. Subject, lease review, body. Can you check if this clause means I'm responsible for pet damages? Thanks. I opened the attachment, made 3 quick notes, and sent it back. No lecture, no grudge, just red ink and closure. Her reply came 5 minutes later. 3 heart emojis, no words. That was her version of an apology, and I decided it was enough. On Sunday, I met them all at the park. No cameras, no lights, just wind and laughter. Mom handed me a thermos. You look rested, she said. I smiled. I finally learned my job description at home. Sophie smirked. Still fixing everything? I shook my head. Just not for free. The wind shifted, carrying laughter from the kids. Somewhere behind me, the city hummed, indifferent and alive. And for once, so was I whole. Quiet. Unperformed. If you've ever felt like the outsider in your own family, hit that subscribe button because this story isn't over. Sometimes revenge doesn't look like shouting or slamming doors. It looks like peace that nobody gave you permission to have. It looks like locking your own door and calling it safety, like laughing in a kitchen where every sound finally belongs to you. If you've ever been told there's no room for you, build one. And when they come knocking again, smile kindly, breathe deep, and remember, this isn't a hotel.